You do look very handsome today, James.
Oh, thank you, Christopher. What kind? I'm full of cold, so that's a nice compliment.
Well, I've had a shocker.
Go on.
Sorry, that's why I was a bit rushed. Well, because it's blowing a hoolie out there.
It really is.
Storm Desdemona or whatever it's called.
Oh,
So I came back and my seed trays had blown everywhere.
no.
Yeah.
Disaster.
True story.
It is very blowy.
Yeah. How's your bucolic life, James?
Well, talking of plants, we had quite an eventful week, actually, with Mark having to go to hospital, believe it or not.
Oh, no. What
I know,
happened? Mark being
because-
your husband,
Yeah.
aka Titty.
Titty got pricked by a hawthorn, believe it or not, which sounds fairly
Yeah, I've done
benign. But it was over his joint and his finger like blew up like this huge marshmallow. And then he started going all hot and cold and sweaty and sort of weird and sort of just all like fluey.
Yeah.
And so then went to the hospital, went to our local place, and they said, no, you need to go to hospital because you might be sort of, on the verge of something a bit sort of septic and nasty. So he had to go down Wednesday night, was in hospital having his hand numbed.
No.
All from a hawthorn. I know. So beware of the hawthorn, is what I say.
Do you know what? In a minute, God will stop throwing rocks at you.
Yeah.
I promise.
Oh, no. I mean, this sounds like I come on here and just have my weekly sort of rant and complain, but it was all fine. Everything's fine now. But
No, but that's horrid.
no, hawthorn. You wouldn't have thought, would you, that something like that? And apparently it's a thing. Apparently it's a thing that hawthorns are covered in a particular type of bacteria that can very easily get into your bloodstream and cause all sorts of really nasty sort of infections.
You heard it here first, listeners. Well, can I just say actually, because I've done stuff with hawthorns.
Okay.
Sounds dodge. But I've had really big sore like welts from it. Not like anything major, but I was like, that really hurts. Like it didn't really do much. So I was like, is there something slightly poisonous in them? But because they're everywhere, I was like, surely not.
Yeah. Well, apparently so. So maybe that's it. Maybe because it was over his knuckle, that it kind of got infected and horrible.
Yeah, because
they're
pretty.
nasty.
It's very pretty hawthorn. You see, I like to cut it round about now, actually, as it's coming into. Is it now or in winter that it flowers?
I don't actually know what it is, if I'm honest. Is it what's in head?
Really beautiful.
Has it got white flower or a red berry? Is it one of those?
White flower. Possibly there's a red berry in the autumn.
Yeah.
Anyone who knows, write in. Hello.
Yeah, let us know. Green fingers.
We should also probably say hello to everybody. There with me just diving in.
That would be a nicer thing for us to do, wouldn't it? We're feeling about hawthorns.
Hi, listeners. How are we all? Welcome to Homo Sapiens. I'm with Dr. James Greenwood today in our occasional series, sort of talking about queer parenting, but obviously we're talking about gardening. Queer gardening series.
Gardening.
And it's a delight to have you, James, as you know.
Oh, well, thank you. It's lovely to be back.
away.
To be here. Hello to everybody.
Now, do we want to go public on the Rightmove links I send you to try and get you to move closer to me?
Oh, now this is just adding another level of pressure, isn't it? If we're going to go public with this.
Oh, it's almost like I planned it.
Oh,
so we have
great.
William, my husband, James, and his husband, Titty, have a WhatsApp group called Kirsty and Phil. And it's called Kirsty and Phil because of Kirsty and Phil from location. Because I am their Kirsty and Phil, because I'm trying to find them a house closer to us so that we can raise our children together, they can marry, and that's that. So I'll tell you my experience of the WhatsApp group and you can tell me yours. So I send links in it to two of the most stubborn people I know who are like, don't like it. I send them like amazing places. And most of the time they just read it and don't reply.
No.
And that's true. You read it and don't reply. Or Mark says no, just says like no. And then I continue because I'm not going to give up yet. But then I found a house that was amazing. Anyway, over to you, James. What's your take?
That house is,
You need to be able to speak your truth because you
oh,
may see it
gosh.
differently.
Well, so I have a horrible habit, and I will confess now, with WhatsApp, where I read a message, I reply in my head, and I forget to type. It happens all the time. I did it to you with this. I do it on the Kirsty and Phil. I do it to my own family. People sometimes get a little bit offended, and I try and say, actually, you know, it's the people that I love the most that I don't feel
reply in my head
to reply to, because I have conversations with you lovely people in my own mind. I just forget to put that down through my thumb.
Totally.
So I can't really actually come back with anything constructive here, other than they are all beautiful houses.
Well, they're not all, no, but this one was a.
Well, that one, the most recent one was beautiful. I think so. It's that thing, isn't it? Of like, what's the perfect house? What does that look like? And it's the sacrifice of what you have, and every, you know, I think there's a part of me that's getting to maybe it's an age thing where I'm just like, oh, do I feel like I need to put that level of stress on me to try and start again? Or do I just sit still for a bit? I don't know. Big old life questions. But I would love our children to be literally garden to garden friends. That would be so cute. But they can still be that. It's just there's an hour between us, but we can plan that.
Yeah, totally. But so you're not feeling like you really do want to move. Is it because you kind of had to do the house up after the flood?
The great flood of 2025. I don't know why. The thing is, I love living where we live, but I always just feel like I either want to be more in the city or more rural. And I don't know which one it is. You are more rural, which could be the most perfect solution. Just throw everything in. Let's go.
There was a right move link.
Let's just do it. Or do we move to central Bristol? I love Bristol. Who's got the answers?
So I think what's interesting is there's something in you that's holding you back. I can smell it in people because I like Kirsty. I'm very perceptive and I can smell it. And I know when it's me, it's a bit like dating. You know when you're more into it than the other person. You know it.
No, don't say that.
I'm not talking about the friendship. Sorry, I'm talking about the move.
Just the houses, the move.
Yeah.
It scares me a bit going fully rural. I think that's the thing. It's quite a hard word to say that, rural.
Can I just say, I do not feel like I live somewhere rural.
Rural.
I literally feel like I live in an outpost of London. I don't think this is the countryside.
Yeah, maybe it's because you're a long way from us that I feel you're more in the countryside.
I would say you feel more countryside.
Oh
yeah.
God, that's wild.
Interestingly.
Yeah.
But I've never done the journey from your house to Bristol. So you're just outside Bristol. But to be honest, I'm not very good at maps, so I don't really know.
Yeah. No, well, we're sort of, yeah. I don't know.
I think part of what it is about being around here as well is that there's always someone from London passing through, like all the time. And a lot of so most of the time someone's texting me saying I'm coming to the Cotswolds because it's a bit of a like touristy place. So people come to visit.
Yeah.
So they're like, can we pop in? So I don't ever feel disconnected from my London friends.
But I've never had a London experience. So I don't actually have many I've got friends in London. I do have sort of a smattering of friends in London, but I wouldn't say that my main social base is London centric. Having said that, my sister's in London, and actually now I'm thinking about it, there are some very, very good friends that do live in London. So I think maybe actually I do have a lot of friends in London. But we've just got friends all over. I've got friends down in Cornwall, in Exeter. I've got friends in London. I've got friends up in Yorkshire. And it's that thing of like, where do you even begin to plant yourself these days? Like, I think
we're geographically in the middle of that.
Well, yeah, probably the Cotswolds. You're absolutely 100% right.
Great train links, great schools.
Yeah, I've got nothing to come back. It would be perfect. I just need
not going to happen. You don't want that, because I will release that link to other gays,
Oh,
because that house is very special. And I actually think there must be something wrong with it, because I think it's very cheap for what it is.
yeah, I think that too. But I should
It's
probably
it's
still see
it's
it, shouldn't I?
it's a beautiful cottage. I've listened. It's a beautiful cottage, all done up, 4 bedrooms, beautiful
I
views,
like beautifully as well.
done up beautifully. Like, you wouldn't do
Yeah.
anything to it.
No, just in
And
there.
like oldie worldy cottage, has a garden, rolling hills all around it. Looks like it's in the middle of nowhere, but actually it's really close to everything, including Matt House. And yeah, so I will, because I am a right move addict. Not addict, because I don't do anything about it. I'm a right move voyeur. I I do find amazing places, and I do have. You're not the only gays I'm helping.
Oh my God, this is harsh. This
No,
is
but I'm being
like,
serious with you, because if you don't want it, should I share it with other gays?
I mean, it's probably only fair that other gays get a look at it because they
Fine.
probably, it's,
Bite my hand off.
well, yeah, but it's also, let's not get too political, but the state of how expensive everything is now. I'm like, it's an expensive house for us. It's like a jump up,
Yeah.
which is not, sometimes that's an exciting thing to do. But I just think at the moment, that's just something that I'm like,
The world is in turmoil. I feel you.
in turmoil. And like, when you sort of just get to a point where you're like, you can tick along. So we're on oil. This is very, very sort of topical, possibly a little bit
Yeah.
now. We're on oil heating. Our oil bill has just doubled overnight. It's gone from £600 to £1,300
Overnight, because of the Iran war?
because of the war. Yeah, and
What, they just sent you an update saying it's going to cost double now?
they just double it. So now we need to fill up the tank, and suddenly it's twice the price at least. Which, I mean, of course, horrendous that we're in a situation of war, but at the same time, when you're like, oh, is that just the war, or is this a bit of an opportunity for somebody somewhere to make a lot of money out of a situation? Because how something can double, nothing else has doubled. Petrol hasn't doubled, diesel hasn't doubled. So why is our heating oil doubled? So maybe we do just need to get on gas, stay with the majority.
Well, you won't be on gas around here, folks. But I do know what you mean. But I will just push. I don't want listeners to think I am not a good house finder, because I was given a price.
You were
given a price, and I kept within the price.
Yeah, it's under the price.
It's under the price.
It's under the,
and it's done up.
Max. It's under our max like budget. So you're there, but it's still, it would be like,
No, it's still nuts.
It's still like a big jump on the mortgage and blah blah blah. And it just makes me feel a bit sick at the moment. Like, all of that just makes me feel very. I suppose, people are either sort of people love a risk, or they're a bit risk averse. I think I'm realizing I'm actually quite risk averse when it comes to a lot of stuff, and other things I'm not at all.
Well, yeah, I think, there's always a dynamic, isn't there? I feel like you and Titty are a good double act, because he's a bit more gung ho. You're
Literally, Titty would just be, let's do it. Yeah, he's throw caution to the wind. Worry about it tomorrow. Get it done.
Maybe I need to talk to him.
Maybe it's the wrong party here. Maybe we'll need to get. I normally just follow whatever Titty says. I just do basically. So maybe you just need to work on.
Oh, really?
100%. So
Breaking. But why are you going to see the house, not him then?
Because don't know. Just because, he probably, I don't know. We both had to like it, but he would be the one to then drive it, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I suppose what's underneath all of this is, I think it's really nice for gay parents to be near each other, or and sort of have some shared. And that's not to say we can't. It's just I fantasize about having a shared garden where our children play, because so, for example, like, very interestingly, Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're having this. Our eldest is 3, so she's first sort of asking questions, like, about Mother's Day, and we had this whole conversation. It was really sweet, and I can't remember why or how it started, but she was like, we were talking about families and how some families have just one mum, some families have just one dad, some families have a mum and a dad, some families have 2 dads, some families have 2 mums. and various other permutations beyond that. And she was like, so, and she's obviously, my dad has died, William's dad has died. So she just has two grandmas. And I was like, you have two grandmas. And she was like, where's your dad? And I said, oh, my dad died. And she was like, oh, who died him? And I said, oh, he was not very well, so he died. And she's like, oh, I'm kind of praising the conversation,
Yeah.
but not like she's going to listen back to this and pick holes in it. But she said, do you miss your daddy? I was like, yeah, I really do. She was like, oh, that's sad. Anyway, this was all revolving around how families are made because it's Mother's Day coming up, and Peg is going to. I basically just sent the school a message saying, realize we haven't really spoken about how we talk about parents in our household, and they were amazing, by the way, but you know, we just sort of explain the different versions of families because Mother's Day can be shit for someone whose mum died. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
100%.
so
Yeah.
it's actually not a gay thing. And you know, so we talk about that, you know, and they have, Peg has a book which is her story, so it shows her egg donor, it shows her surrogate, and there's photos of them. So we got the book
I
out
love
and we were
that.
able to talk through it and explain, you know, all this stuff. But what, so it brought a few things to a head, and I really feel I sort of get nervous about her feeling less than at school and not understanding why, you know, because I just think Mother's Day or Father's Day or loads of these days, Valentine's Day, I get concerned with people feeling shit when it's meant to be a nice day.
I know it's a strange thing, isn't it? How it's like moved on. Like I think whenever you sort of go on socials around Mother's Day or Valentine's Day, like I find now there's as many posts going out saying, if this is a shit day for you, send me
Yeah.
love. You know, it's sort of like there's as much awareness of the negative as there is about enjoying it for just what it is.
Mm.
Because actually it's just another day. And you kind of think they're sort of not anything, are they? I mean, I know there's probably history behind why they're there in the first place, but I do kind of feel like it's all just become an excuse to be sort of commercialized. But with ours, it's like we kind of it's hard. It's just a bit tricky, isn't it? It's kind of like it doesn't mean anything, but it sort of means something, and it sort of means a lot to the situation that you're in. So whilst it's quite easy as adults to be quite flippant about it, just be like, oh, it's, you know, we don't really do that whole Valentine's Day, that whole Mother's Day thing, blah, blah, blah. The difficulty is that the world around the kids is doing that thing. So, you
Yeah.
know, nursery are making cards, they're planting flowers, they are having
Mm.
a Mother's Day sort of tea party where all the mums can come in and do certain for an hour and stuff like that. And
Same.
you're kind of a bit like, oh, that's really like, whilst we're sort of slightly leaning out, other places are really leaning in. And you're kind
Well,
of like, what's the middle ground on that? I don't know.
I mean, I think that, you know, they're slightly struggling for things to keep everyone entertained with, aren't they? When you're trying to do stuff with kids of that age. So it's like, you kind of just go off calendar stuff, Easter, Mother's Day, you
Makes
know,
sense.
and I get that, but also like it does. So they've got all the mums are invited in. And I was like, that's not very fair. Like, so I want grandmas to come in.
Mm.
And they were totally cool with it. But I was a bit frustrated that they hadn't thought that first, you know?
No.
And it was a question I asked when I went into schools. I was like, how will you deal with that stuff? And I had some really good answers and I had some really bad answers from different schools. You know, because it is not like if a place anywhere caters to the archetype, I would say you're probably excluding a hell of a lot of people. It's not like it's like there's the odd person. I would say so many people have varieties of that, and
Mm.
it should just be looser, you know.
And you're right, it's
Anyway.
not a gay thing. It's not us,
No.
yeah, woe is us as dads, blah, blah, blah. I think it's, you know, mums, might have died, they might have abandoned, there's all sorts of different
Mm.
things why a mother figure in the most traditional form might not be present in a family unit.
You could be with a foster family, and then it's
Yeah,
like, you know, you don't
so
contact
what
your
happens
mother. And
there? And so,
what
yeah.
have you, what conversations have you had in your house, if any?
So we do try and keep that conversation going. He's just at the cusp of sort of asking certain questions, but then at the same time will then just go and ask for a baby bell. Like it's not, it's sort of like the sort of these big questions kind of pop out, but I don't think he necessarily realizes how big they actually are.
How old is he now? Sorry, I should
So
know.
he'll be 3 in May, so he's just 2.5 at the
Okay.
moment. It's still not,
Yeah, it's a bit
sort of like he actually, to be fair, he's not really asking questions in a kind of inquisitive way. He's in this phase of asking everything. Like he'll hold a red pen and be like, "Is this a red pen?" Like, yeah.
Mm.
In the supermarket, is that an aubergine? Is that satsuma? Is that a green bean? And
Oh,
you're like,
that's
yep,
cool.
yep, 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 yep. So he's sort of getting this sort of momentum of asking about the world around him, I suppose. But we are very much sort of, we had the conversation with his surrogate Rachel, and she was very cool about the idea of us, kind of framing Rachel as being tummy mummy, so that we've kind of got
Yeah.
that sort of openness there about Rachel is your tummy mummy, which,
Yeah.
not every surrogate wants to be referred to as either mummy or mother or in any way. The surrogates often don't necessarily want that sort of, I don't know, that level of maternal input when, their role is very much surrogacy. But we kind of had that conversation with Rachel, and she was like, yeah, that works for her as well as it does for us. And so we kind of went down that route with it.
Is Rachel the egg donor as well?
No.
So the egg is separate.
The egg is separate, yeah. But, she's a huge part of our lives, and she brought Oliver into this world for us. So it feels appropriate to kind of have that, that sort of relationship there, if everybody agrees on that behalf, which we all did. But I understand that even that isn't going to be the solution for lots of different sort of family units and stuff. So I think it's just individual, isn't it? It's finding what suits your situation and not letting external influences kind of decide whether that is right or wrong. Like, I don't think there is right or wrong. It's just trying not to fuck it up, isn't it?
Trying being the word.
Yeah.
But no, well, yeah, because it's just, the reason I asked that is a technical point that is probably interesting to anyone who is thinking about it. Is so a surrogate who carries the baby is inevitably around, you know what I mean? Like, whereas an egg donor can be someone who went into a clinic 10 years ago and froze some eggs and actually has, that when they donate their eggs, they stipulate whether they want to be contacted never at the age of 18. My understanding, certainly in the situation in America, is I don't think you can contact them before the child is 18, regardless. I think that's blanket. I don't know what it is in the UK.
As far as I'm aware, they can request information at 18 from the egg bank, and I think they get, or do they get a picture? I feel like there's a pre-existing consent from the donor about how much information is then revealed at that 18-year-old mark, which is stored by the egg bank. Yes. And I think then if the person wants to contact the donor, the egg bank will initially make that contact on their behalf, and then the donor can either reject or accept whether they wish to sort of move forward with that reunite, not reunited, but that sort of that meeting. I'm like, I'm up for it. Like, I just think, I'm so intrigued, and it's I'd love to meet them. Of course I would, but I would never put that pressure on Oliver. Like, he can have that decision at 18. But I won't feel, I don't know, some people sort of think, oh, I think I'll feel like I've failed, or that, he doesn't, why does he need to know that? All that sort of stuff. I'm like, well, I don't know, why, like, fine, but also why not? Like, I don't think it's, I just think it's not
primal. You want to know. Like, that doesn't mean you don't think you've had a good, but tell me, so you don't have a photo of your egg donor?
No.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Right. Totally anonymous.
So we got photos, and so Peg, that's one of those photos. Well, a couple of those photos are in Peg's book, because with Mother's Day, it's like, how do you define a mother? You know what I
Mm.
mean? And so that is, so we call her the egg donor, her egg donor, because we talked about, because I think if you say that's your mother, there's an absence, which isn't
Mm.
real, because the process was designed that her egg donor wanted to donate eggs to families, because she has her own story, which is hers to tell, but it's
Yeah.
amazing. And she has very specific reasons, which are amazing. And one of the things that made me sort of love her for, like her profile, I should say.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I do feel, again, like you say, you're just, whatever you said earlier, like, make it up as you go along. It's like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to play a straight bat, and just tell her the facts, and then she can deduce them. But when they're 3, 4, 5, it is quite complex things. Doesn't stop me saying it normally, but in a very plain way. But it is quite complex things to get one's head around.
Yeah, it really is. And actually, again, like it's something that I always feel like we talk about it quite openly because it's quite obvious that we've had to go through, I think, and we may have said it before, but it's quite obvious that we've had to go through a process of IVF to get to the point where we're parents, which of
Yeah,
course, lots of heterosexual couples also go through a very
yeah,
similar process, perhaps
with egg
without
donors as well.
without the surrogacy side of things, although sometimes it is resulting in surrogacy as well. But certainly with donor conception and egg donating or sperm donating, and infertility in heterosexual couples is still carries, which I do find it must
Mm,
be really difficult. You know, there is still this sort of stigma that is attached to it, or almost like a kind of, hush hush, like, and so actually, for all I know, here's us saying, Oliver's in his class and he's sort of donor conceived and surrogacy conceived. There may be 4 or 5 other children in his class that are also donor conceived. We've just got no idea.
that's so funny, isn't it? Yeah, we get so like, we're so special. I've been cool. They're probably like, there's 6 of you.
But nobody talks about it. So it's like,
Yeah,
you
that's
know, it's like I'm kind of intrigued to know, like, what's the bigger picture there? Because anybody that's been through an IVF journey must have these conversations at home. Like, do we, if you're a straight couple and you've got donor conceived children, then how do they frame that conversation around Mother's Day and Father's Day, and where did the children come from? Like, I think openness is now definitely what the sort of understanding that I've had from it is, that they now say, just basically speak the truth from the start,
yeah,
and then all will be good, because they've always known who they are and where they come from, rather than it being this big shock reveal. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Speak. Also, it's not even like the truth. It's speak the fact.
No, yeah,
And then,
sorry. Truth isn't the right word. Yeah.
and then, sorry, I don't want to sound like, I'm not meaning that in a correct you way, but as in a kind of like, there is a, it's almost like, give the facts and then let the story emerge, because
Mm,
there will be a story that anyone tells themselves based off facts. But
mm,
because I suppose, let me tell you what made me think that is, if there was a straight couple, a man and a woman, who had to use an egg donor because the woman was having issues with eggs. For example, there are many permutations of what a male-female couple look like within the queer community, etc. But just using this example, on Mother's Day, the woman who'd used the donor egg and given birth, she would say she's the mother, right? Or would she? I suppose I'm throwing that out to people listening as well.
mm.
Like, is it important to define it? And what is a parent, and what is a mother, what is a father? I think is I suppose what I'm thinking of is, that's also for Peggy to decide.
Well, yeah, 100%. Like, let them, and kids, they sort of, they get it almost, don't they? I think we overcomplicate things to the point, but I wonder from lesbian couples as well, if, because you hear a lot
Yeah,
of lesbian couples, using someone's eggs and then the other one carries them, but like, how did
yeah,
they, it'd be really fascinating to sort of see how that gets spoken about. And again, because it's sort of the same thing of like, I suppose it's both mother, but is that a bit presumptive of us to presume that you would both identify as mother? If I don't know, like I suppose you would, but I don't know. Just
Well, I
what I mean?
suppose
Like,
we both identify as dads. And what I also think is quite interesting, as in I'm talking about William and I, also you and I, is this may sound loopy, but this is what I was thinking before I had a child. I was like, I don't, because it's like, what are you going to call each other? And I was like, I don't mind being called mum. Like, I don't really care. But actually, I realized that that was quite kind of attached to my own gender dysphoria as a teenager, which I experienced, but the words were not even there. And there we go. But actually, once you have a child, weirdly, I think gender disappears in some respects, or solidifies to the nearest close example. Like, I don't think my vague feelings about non-binariness that I have had in my life are relevant to this little person. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, something about identity slightly vanishes. And I don't mean that in a bad way.
Is it because there's so many defined labels that when you're sort of in the situation where the labels can't quite as easily be attached to you, that you kind of do slightly think, well, actually, where am I with all of this? Maybe I'm not any of it. I don't know.
Well, I think it's kind of like two things. I think one is that the needs are not really particularly gender based on the whole. They either threw up and they need you to tidy up. Like, you just need to be the person around them. There's all of that. But I think also on the flip side, there's also some heavy gender stuff going on, because when you hang out with other dads, I can't remember if we said this last time, but it's like, e.g., lots of the dads don't know what they eat and stuff. And whereas you're occupying a space where you do know all that stuff, you know, on the whole, I'm talking to mums more than dads. So it's all there is a little bit of dysphoria about going into such a gendered world when perhaps through finding my people, gender kind of dissipated a bit, you know. And I even find it, you know, like if I see friends from school, it all gets quite gendered again, or possibly just brings up in me gendered stuff. And I think parenting does that as well. I don't know where I'm going with that point, but therapy, so why not speak?
Yeah, I tell you, no, this is why we need to live with each other, because we can do all of this with a couple of glasses of wine.
Oh, over the fence.
Hug, and then at the end of it, we're just like, you got this, we got this.
Yeah.
We should kind of what we're doing.
We have done some nice, you've sent me some lovely texts saying you've got this at times when you need it.
Well, this is it. It is. It's a hard old game. I think parenting is hard, full stop, in lots of ways. And then you just need to find your tribe a bit, don't you? Like we said it before, it's finding the tribe beyond, you know, it's like the subsection of the tribe that you know you're in. And then it's just like finding other gay parents or queer parents, or, you know.
I'm happy with gay friendly.
Yeah.
Got some lovely gay friendly parents. Someone said parenting brings out any issue with your relationship or with yourself, it just times it by 10, particularly in the first year. Did you find that? How was your mental health?
Wow. How long have we got?
Hang on, let me just cancel a couple.
You might
just stay on.
If we're going in for the long haul, let's start tea and we'll finish tomorrow morning. My mental health. So parenting has 100% changed my relationship with everything. Like, changes your relationship just to everyone and everything in positive ways, but also very reflective ways, I think, as well. And I think you know, we talk about gay shame, don't we, a lot, and the era that we grew up in and things. And I think being a parent does possibly bring some of that feeling to the fore, because you sort of, I think it's actually I find it quite hard to talk about. It's quite hard to verbalize it, because it's sort of, it's so layered and nuanced, and it's sort of like, God, where do we even begin with it? But I think there's a part of me that is so afraid to show any slight sign of failure as a parent, which of
Mhm.
course is impossible
Oh, interesting.
to maintain. But like, I just think, I look online and I see like the fun mum accounts or the dad accounts where they're sort of like, they're being, I don't know, like just a bit sort of like, I don't know, focusing in on the shit that's gone wrong. And like, it's really relatable. And you're like, yeah, I get that. I like, it's great. And I love following those accounts. I kind of think, could I do that? Or are we held to a different account? Or is that all in my mind that there's no space, there's no room for anything other than perfection? Otherwise, it's the first little sign of weakness that somebody could come in and say, see, that's why, you know, gay people shouldn't be parents. And
Mm.
that plays, that I sort of self-troll myself a bit with that. So yeah, my mental health is, it's an interesting place. It's a
Happens.
slightly, it's a slightly rundown, state of play, but nothing new there. But that's something that I think parenting brought forward. Of course, there's the myriad and plethora of positive things that, like, in terms of fulfillment and drive and motivation. Like like that's all there as parenting is for everybody. It's amazing, but there is definitely that side of me that's like, oh, like you need to find a way, and that's where tribe is so important, because actually I can talk to you and I can talk to my other gay friends and I can talk to other
Mm.
gay parents about the sort of the failures and the what happened here and what happened there. But I would not, you sort of you do find yourself thinking, I don't know, it's that holding yourself to sort of a slightly impossible level, maybe. You feel that or not?
I do. I think what's always funny, I find with things like this is, I like when you were talking about it, this is where my brain went. I was like, oh, I don't think I have that. And then I was thinking and I was like, and then my stomach turned. I was like, oh my God, you so have that. You just didn't even realize. Like I suddenly was like, yes, that is what I do. So like what came to mind is like how they're dressed. Like
Mm.
I would never drop them off at nursery not looking put together properly. Um, and I'm not talking about like a Luke. I'm talking about like, I wouldn't want them to think that they were being really honest. Like it sort of hurts my chest a little bit saying this, but it's like feeling like they're lacking a mother's touch,
Mm.
right? Being perceived as lacking a mother's touch. This is therapy, man. I haven't
Yeah,
thought,
see?
yeah, and I haven't thought about that at all because I think I've just thought it's sort of weirdly my creativity because I love the clothes part of it. I think it's really fun. My opinions are less heard as we rattle towards the age of 4, but I'll get that brown cardigan on someone else. But yeah, so I think I do know what you mean. And I think like a lot of dads are kind of like, I don't know what's in the bag as they drop them off. I don't want to do like down on dads. There's also lots of great dads. So, you know, but there's definitely, yeah, like a feeling of having to be across it that I hadn't quite considered. And I think queer people have this thing, well, or do they? Write in hello@homosapienspodcast.com, where you feel like you have to do it all on your own. Like I've always had this thing of like, if I'm in like a real mental health, whatever you would call it, I can pretty much on the whole track it back to thinking I have to do everything on my own. Forget to ask for help.
Mm.
Because I feel like I'm on my own. And like I think like one of the biggest things in therapy I discovered was that I said that I felt like I was behind enemy lines
Mm.
as a child because I was sent to like a school that was horrible
Mm.
and everyone else was having loads of fun, but I was being picked on. I think it wasn't that bad, but you know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like anyone else there. It was an all boys school. And I was just in like fight or flight the whole time. That's how I interpreted that stuff. So,
Mm.
but that reaction, I should say, not weird, Chris, is can stay with you forever and manifest in the most crazy ways, which is
Yeah.
that why do I feel like I have to do this all on my own and be perceived as capable of doing it all on my own? And when I say all on my own, I don't mean as in not with my husband. I feel like we're sort of an island or something.
Mm.
No, don't know what I'm saying, but I just think
No,
we're hard on ourselves.
yeah, and I think it's, but I wonder whether I wonder whether the kids themselves will actually will be the thing that sort of, I don't know, like, so I can I can remember when we took Oliver on our first abroad holiday. We went, and like, I think it was out of season. In fact, it was when Mark was first allowed to fly after his sort of his cancer thing. So we were like, right, great, all clear, let's go on holiday. So Oliver would have been about maybe sort of just over a yearish. So he was talking, a few words were coming out, and blah blah blah. And we went to this hotel. We just decided to just go all inclusive, make it really easy. And but obviously you're only a year into it, so like you're still sort of like aware, maybe hyper aware, that you are two dads with a very young infant. And
Yes.
what we hadn't really thought about was the fact that we'd be going to dinner and breakfast every day with our little baby. So all of the other guests, like you might go out for dinner, and anything, you could be anything, couldn't you? You could masquerade or nothing. But like, a week of the same family come to breakfast every time. So I was like, we're clearly, we were getting a few looks from other guests and blah blah blah, but they were lovely, and everyone was very kind to Oliver and stuff like that. But then as the sort of the holiday went on, he was picking up words. As we were walking down to breakfast, there were these like little hedgeways with these gates, or sort of going down as you sort of walk past them. So he was pointing at things, saying the words, so like beach and then tree and stuff. But he'd picked up the word gate, but he couldn't quite say it. So as we were walking into the breakfast, we've got our sort of 15-month-old going gay, gay, gay. Like, it was like we were carrying our own little gay alarm to just let everybody know the gays have arrived with their baby. I was like, flipping heck, if that what to tell it, I don't know. It was just, and then actually we kind of thought, and then people were laughing and stuff. I mean, great, there we are. We've broken.
Oh, so people were laughing. Oh my God.
Some of the staff had sort of cottoned on. And like, I don't know. And so I suppose in that way, that was one of those weird things where we were worried on one part, but actually Oliver himself actually just broke the ice and like sorted it.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether that is sort of what might be what is more to come. Like maybe he will sort of slightly just, I don't know. You just don't know, do you? Whether they will the whole situation themselves, basically, and just shout gay at everything.
Well, you are kind of touching on a thing, which is like we are both sort of talking about this. It's like how we're going to break the terrible news inadvertently, and actually, who knows that it's going to be terrible news or what? Sometimes you can find yourself in that space when I don't think it's terrible news, but just when you say that, it makes me realize, like you don't know how someone's going to react. And
you come out 3 or 4, you come out multiple times a day as a parent because you can't not, especially if we're together.
Oh yeah.
That's the reality of it.
I love watching the face. People are like, because you have to be like, if they're like, your dad, and I'm like, yeah. They're like, but they're going, I just met the dad. When they've met William, and it's like, there's another dad.
There's two.
And it's really funny. I don't know why. Why does this always happen traveling? It's always like hotels. It's like, I suppose hotels is, I don't know what. I just, you're approaching the little desk and you're like, here we go.
Here we are.
Yeah.
One double bed and a cot. Oh.
But I do think it's like, I think that's why people like having communal breakfasts in hotels, is because you basically are looking through someone's kitchen window. You know what I mean? Like, I find it so personal, and I think everybody feels really watched in those scenarios.
Yeah.
Like, they are.
I'm the watcher, by the way.
Are you?
I'm literally like, oh, so you're the person that has the capers and the olives and the weird little kind of selection of whatever it is that I'm always like, why is that there?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think people are fucking weird about breakfast. Like, I think dinner, like, people are not that idiosyncratic. There's something about breakfast where people have their little ways, and they have to have their little way. So you watch these people, and by day 3, you're like, oh God, it's the guy who wants the half-cooked omelette. And he's waiting, trying to catch the woman's eye to get the omelette. And the woman hasn't noticed it. I can feel his stress emanating off him. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just so, breakfast is quite a private matter.
Maybe it is. I've never thought of that, really.
It's quite a personal thing. So I always feel like, I always feel quite watched. And I do feel watched with kids. But actually, I also hadn't really thought about when they're a baby, I did feel more like watched, because I felt like people would be like, how are those 2 lads going to keep that alive? Whereas when they're toddlers, it's a bit more like they'd say if they were hungry, you know?
Yeah.
So I felt less observed.
I remember being out. So we did purposely ask when Oliver was newborn. We spoke to the midwife, spoke to health visitor, like, can you take newborns out? Like, is that a thing? Like, obviously, or do you kind of, is it safer to keep them indoors? And they were very much like, no, you can definitely go out with your baby, like, being allowed to go out of the house. I'm like, can it touch the ground? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I just remember wanting to, but that's the thing. It's like wanting to make sure that I'm doing everything right and blah, blah, blah. And I was so tired, and I went to meet a good friend, and we just went for lunch basically. And I had Oliver in his pram. It was May, he was born in May, so it was probably like June. So lovely weather, blah, blah, blah. And we were just sitting there outside having food, and Oliver was by us. And this lady did come up to the pram and sort of said, do you think your baby should be out? Shouldn't she be at home? Shouldn't he be at home with the mother right now? Why? Yeah. And I was like, and I was so taken aback. And I remember just thinking, I don't know how to respond, and I don't know what to say. Like, so I just said, oh no, he's fine. He's very happy here. And then they walked off, and I just thought, wow, God, that's intense. Like, would you have said that if I was my sister out with her kids? I don't know. Like, there's something, what I'm trying to say is I think there's something about the concept of a man being wholly responsible for a newborn baby that still, does sit perhaps uncomfortably with some people, but, I think proof that that's not needed.
Yeah. And as I think it's Alok Menon says, gender is a prison, and you realize you become a conduit for understanding a lot of people's crazy gendered ideas when you have a baby, because people just think babies are fair game for comment, which drives me crazy. And actually, as my old therapist used to say, some people are just annoying. Like, because I'd be like, why were they like this? And she was like, some people are just annoying. I said, oh, that helps. But but you can't help but take it to heart, and I can relate to that big time. I also, do you find, I really have found that it does wake a little, and maybe a big lion in you. Like, it does make you less. I'm a lot less scared of a lot of things.
100%. I sort of turn into this slightly kind of there's a new side to me that I've never I think it's the combination of self-preservation mixed with parental protection. When that combines, Jesus, I'm like, who am I? Like,
terribly masked, isn't it?
Watch out. Like,
very masked for mask.
It really does. Like, you just feel like, I sometimes invent situations in my mind of like what would happen, and I'm like, I'm like getting up and I don't know, like it's like
smacking some people about.
Yeah, like, don't talk to me like that. Throwing my glass of champagne over people.
Get away. No, I know it does though. It does make you fearless, and I do quite like that. I do. Yeah. So like when people are being annoying, you're not like, oh, what do I do? I'm just like, you away, politely but firmly. get out of town.
Absolutely.
Get the hell out of
Not
town.
here. Yeah, I've never been quite apologetic when it was a weird thing. The gay shame thing sort of came a bit to the fore maybe as a newborn, because it's so overwhelming. But now I feel like it's totally gone the other way, where I'm like on super defense mode of like, don't cross me.
Yeah. Well, that's also like, but that feels quite motherly, weirdly. It feels quite like a maternal side.
Well, it feels
like
very empowering, let me tell you.
Yeah, I feel like a protective lioness, not a lion, actually. Interestingly, whatever that means. But I love, like, I remember my mum once getting really cross with someone who's, no, it was a mum who was a dick to me at school. And I really want to say her name, by the way. And my mum called her up and was like, do not do that. Like, she went full lioness. And I was like, yes, I love it. I love a lioness moment from a mum.
But it's often the case, isn't it? In films or TV shows, it's often the mum that will take a kid to one side and just give them a.
Yeah, I always like that.
Do feel like, yeah, go on. Like it's sort of like, I don't know. You kind of think when it comes from a female character, you sort of you're just like, yeah. I can.
Well, I think I always relate to it more, and
we want to be them.
Yeah, it started with Kylie, and from there, it's always related to. I always relate to the female storyline. I always relate to the female pop star. It's never. And with all the men, I'm like, I don't understand their problems. They seem to know. James, you've got to go to nursery.
I have to go pick him up.
You've got to go and pick your son up.
I mustn't.
So, listeners, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming to my therapy session.
Wild ride.
If you would like to ask us questions about parenting or being gay, hello at homosapienspodcast.com, at homosapiens on Instagram. We're supporting Not a Phase this season. So if you would like to have a set of gender affirming underwear sent to you by us, nominate yourself or someone you know who's trans who wants gender affirming underwear, write in hello at homosapienspodcast.com. We'll be raising money. If you'd like to donate some money, why not? Please do. There's a good point. And anything else from you today, James?
Just sending a big, warm, lovely hug to everybody.
Great. Not that woman who came up to you with the
not her. She can
do one. She can do. All right. Well, thanks, listeners. Sending you all loads of love.